Okay, so picture this. You're in a meeting, and it's like there's this elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah.
This big honking problem that everyone is just tiptoeing around.
Yeah.
You could feel it. Something's off, but you're just like,
Right.
Should I speak up? Should I not?
Yeah.
And that feeling of holding back, that inner debate,
Yep.
can really stifle a team's potential.
Totally.
And so that, my friend, is where psychological safety comes in.
It's huge.
And that is the secret sauce for these high-performing teams.
Sure.
We've got a fantastic article today that's breaking down this concept.
Okay.
What it is, why it matters.
Yeah.
And most importantly, how to build it.
Love it.
I'm so excited to have you on to help us unpack all of this juicy information.
Happy to be here.
Because you always bring those really practical, actionable insights.
I try.
That our listeners love.
Appreciate it.
So psychological safety.
Yes.
It's a hot topic these days, and for good reason.
Yeah.
It's that confidence that you can speak up. You can share ideas.
Yes.
And yes, even point out those elephants in the room.
For sure.
Without fear of being penalized or judged for it.
Exactly. It's like that feeling of knowing you can take a risk.
Yes.
Without being thrown under the bus.
Exactly.
It's not about lowering expectations or avoiding accountability at all.
Right.
It's really about creating this climate where open communication and respect are just the norm. Think of it like your team's collective comfort level with being vulnerable in front of each other.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how would you describe the psychological safety level in your current team using that definition?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a great question for listeners to ponder.
While they're chewing on that,
yes,
let's just make sure we're all on the same page about what psychological safety is not. It's not about being nice all the time.
Right.
It's not about avoiding those tough conversations.
Yeah.
In fact, it's quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Psychological safety enables those really constructive discussions where feedback is given and received openly and conflicts are addressed head on.
Yes.
It's the foundation for healthy disagreement and debate.
Okay, so we've got a handle on what it is.
Yeah.
But how's it different from trust?
Okay.
They seem pretty intertwined at first glance.
That's a key distinction.
Okay.
Trust is often built on an individual level. It's that belief in another person's reliability, their intentions. Psychological safety, however, is a group-level phenomenon.
So I might trust my colleague to deliver their part of a project on time.
Yes. But you might still hesitate to speak up in a team meeting if you think your idea is going to be shot down or ridiculed.
That reminds me of a project where I completely trusted the lead.
Okay.
But there was this unspoken pressure to present a united front in team meetings. And I bit my tongue on some concerns.
Yeah.
Which, looking back, wasn't the best move.
Yeah. That is a classic example of how trust in an individual doesn't automatically translate to psychological safety for the whole team.
Wow.
And that brings us to the why.
Why should anyone care?
Yeah. What's in it for me?
Exactly. Well, the benefits are pretty substantial.
Okay, lay it on us.
Increased risk-taking.
Okay.
Team members feel empowered to suggest new ideas.
Yeah.
Even those that might seem a little out there without that fear of judgment.
Right.
That leads to innovation, creativity, thinking outside the box.
I can see how that would be a game changer, especially in today's world.
Absolutely. Open communication is another huge benefit.
Okay.
Problems get flagged early on.
Yeah.
Solutions are brainstormed collaboratively. There's a shared understanding of goals and progress.
It's like you're avoiding those massive, messy cleanups later on.
Totally.
Because you're taking care of those small spills as they happen.
Exactly. And then there's resilience.
Okay.
Teams that can openly discuss mistakes.
Yeah.
Learn from them.
And adapt quickly are much better equipped to handle challenges and setbacks.
Right.
They don't get stuck in the blame game.
Speaking of high-performing teams, didn't Google do some fascinating research on this?
Oh, absolutely. This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Google, in their quest to understand what makes teams tick, found that psychological safety was the most important factor in high-performing teams.
Wow, that's a pretty big deal coming from Google.
It makes sense when you feel safe.
Yeah.
You're more likely to bring your A game to contribute your best ideas and effort.
It's like you're creating that fertile ground where talent can really blossom.
I love that analogy.
And I bet this translates into some pretty tangible outcomes.
You bet. Increased innovation, better problem solving, improved decision making, higher engagement, reduced turnover.
Wow.
And don't forget the ripple effect on your customers.
So we're talking happier employees, happier customers, and a more successful business overall.
Sign me up.
So building this psychological safety thing, I'm guessing it's not a one-time fix, right?
You got it. It's an ongoing process.
Okay.
That often unfolds in stages. Think of it as a journey, a progression.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where does this journey begin?
It all starts with what we call inclusion safety.
Okay.
This is the foundation. That feeling of belonging, of being valued and respected for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating a team culture where diversity is celebrated.
Right.
And everyone feels comfortable bringing their unique perspectives to the table.
It's like making sure everyone feels welcome at the table.
Yes.
Before you even start serving the food.
Exactly. Team building activities focused on sharing backgrounds and experiences can be really helpful here.
Yeah.
Anything that fosters understanding and appreciation for each other's differences.
Uh-huh.
And once that sense of inclusion is established,
yeah,
we move on to learner safety.
Okay, I'm ready to level up. What's learner safety all about?
This is the freedom to ask questions.
Okay.
To admit when you don't know something.
And to experiment without fear of being judged or ridiculed.
It's that whole growth mindset thing where mistakes are seen as opportunities for learning rather than failures.
Exactly. And for leaders, this means modeling vulnerability. Admitting when they've made a mistake sets the tone.
Mm-hmm.
Regular debriefs where both successes and areas for improvement are discussed openly can also reinforce this.
I've been in teams where those lessons learned debriefs were so valuable. No finger pointing.
Yeah.
Just honest reflection on what went well and what could be better next time.
Exactly. And that open learning environment leads us to contributor safety.
Okay.
This is where team members feel confident using their skills and talents to contribute meaningfully.
So at this stage, everyone feels empowered to participate.
Yeah.
Share their ideas, insights.
Exactly.
No more wallflowers.
Leaders can encourage this by actively seeking input from all team members.
Okay.
Ensuring everyone's voice is heard. Think brainstorming sessions where all ideas are welcome.
Even the seemingly crazy ones. Especially the seemingly crazy ones.
That's where the aha moments happen.
Right.
Okay, so we've got inclusion safety, learner safety, and contributor safety.
Yes.
What is the final stage in this psychological safety evolution?
The pinnacle is challenger safety.
Oh.
This is where team members feel empowered to question the status quo, to voice dissenting opinions, and to propose new solutions.
Wow.
Even if they challenge the current way of doing things.
So we're talking constructive dissent here.
Yes. It takes guts.
It does.
And leaders who foster challenger safety create an environment where those courageous conversations are welcomed. Where constructive conflict is seen as a valuable tool for growth and innovation.
This is the most challenging stage to achieve.
Probably.
It requires a lot of trust and maturity.
It does. But the rewards are immense.
Yeah.
When people feel safe to challenge the status quo, that's when real breakthroughs happen.
Right.
Think about it. Every major innovation started with someone daring to question the way things were done.
Mind blown. Okay, so we've got these 4 stages.
Yeah.
Inclusion, learner, contributor, and challenger.
Mm-hmm.
Do teams typically progress through these in a linear fashion?
Ideally, yes.
Like, do they need to master one stage before moving to the next?
Each stage builds on the foundation of the previous one.
Okay.
But it's not a rigid staircase.
Okay.
Teams might need to revisit earlier stages if dynamics change or challenges arise.
So it's an ongoing process of growth and adaptation.
Exactly.
It's not about checking boxes.
Right.
It's about cultivating this culture of openness and trust.
Totally.
Now, I know our listeners are eager to get to the practical stuff.
Yes.
Let's dive into the how can leaders and team members actually build psychological safety?
Well, there are a number of things you can do.
Okay.
And the good news is you can start small.
Okay.
Even seemingly small changes can have a big impact.
All right, give us those baby steps. Where do we begin?
Oh, it all starts with leadership.
Okay.
Leaders set the tone, and the most powerful way to foster psychological safety is to lead by example.
Okay, so walk the walks, not just talk the talk. What does that look like in a real work setting?
It means being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Admitting mistakes, showing that you're human. It's about saying, hey, I messed up, but here's what I learned.
Okay.
Or, I'm struggling with this. Can anyone offer some insights?
So basically ditching that perfect leader facade,
Yes.
showing some realness.
Exactly. When leaders model that kind of openness, it gives others permission to do the same. It creates this ripple effect throughout the team.
I once had a manager who was amazing at this.
Oh, yeah.
She would openly admit when she was out of her depth and ask for our input.
Yeah.
It made such a difference in how comfortable we felt speaking up.
That's a perfect example. Yeah. And it highlights how important it is to encourage open communication.
Okay.
Create those spaces, those forums, where team members feel comfortable speaking their minds.
So things like regular team meetings.
Yeah.
Where everyone is encouraged to contribute.
Yes. Or even just those quick check-ins where people can share what's on their minds.
Exactly. And it's not just about talking.
Right.
It's about listening. Active listening, to be precise.
Yes. Active listening. That's more than just hearing the words.
Exactly.
It's about truly tuning in to what people are saying, showing empathy and acknowledging their perspectives. It's going beyond just the words.
Yeah.
And really trying to understand the meaning behind them.
I've definitely been on the receiving end of both good and bad listening. And let me tell you, it makes a world of difference.
For sure.
When you feel like someone is genuinely trying to understand your perspective.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's as simple as asking clarifying questions,
yeah,
paraphrasing what you've heard,
right,
or even just nodding your head to show that you're engaged.
Those little gestures can really go a long way.
They do. Yeah.
Making someone feel heard and validated.
Now, another crucial ingredient is embracing mistakes.
So trading in that blame culture for a learning culture.
Exactly. When mistakes are seen as opportunities for growth,
yeah,
it takes the fear out of trying new things, taking risks and pushing boundaries.
I remember this one time I was working on a presentation.
Okay.
And I accidentally sent the wrong version to the client.
Oh, I bet. We've all been there.
I was mortified.
Yeah.
But instead of getting reprimanded, my manager sat down with me.
Yeah.
And said, okay, let's figure out what happened and how we can prevent it from happening again.
Right.
It was such a relief.
That's a fantastic example of a leader reframing a mistake as a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's so much more effective than simply punishing the person who made the error.
Right. It taught me a valuable lesson about double-checking everything.
Yes.
And it also showed me that it was okay to make mistakes, as long as I learned from them.
Now, feedback is another crucial element in building psychological safety.
Okay.
Both giving and receiving feedback.
So it's a two-way street.
Absolutely. And it's important to approach feedback constructively, focusing on improvement rather than criticism.
So instead of saying, you did this wrong,
right,
it's more about saying, here's how we can make this even better.
Precisely. And leaders should actively seek feedback from their teams. Demonstrating that they value everyone's input and are open to learning and growing themselves.
It's like that saying, feedback is a gift.
Right.
But sometimes it's hard to unwrap that gift gracefully.
It's true. But with practice, both giving and receiving feedback can become more natural and less daunting.
And let's not forget about conflict.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that unwelcome guest that always seems to show up at the worst possible time.
Conflict is inevitable.
It is.
But it doesn't have to be destructive. In fact, when managed constructively, conflict can actually be a catalyst for growth and innovation.
So how can teams turn those clashes into something positive?
It starts with shifting the focus from blame to solutions. Instead of pointing fingers and asking whose fault is this, it's more about saying, okay, how can we fix this together?
So it's about being problem solvers, not blame assigners.
Exactly. And it's important to create a space where different viewpoints can be expressed respectfully, where everyone feels heard and understood, even if there's disagreement.
This is where active listening and empathy really come into play.
Absolutely. And leaders can facilitate this process by encouraging open dialogue, setting ground rules for respectful communication, and mediating when necessary.
It's about creating that safe space to disagree without feeling like you're going to be attacked or ostracized.
Precisely. When conflict is handled constructively, it can lead to stronger relationships, better solutions, and a more cohesive team.
So we've talked about leading by example, open communication, active listening, embracing mistakes, feedback, and constructive conflict resolution. What else can teams do to build psychological safety?
Well, it's important to remember that everyone has a role to play in creating this kind of environment.
Okay.
It's not just up to the leader.
So what can individual team members do to contribute?
One of the most important things is to simply be present and engaged.
Okay.
Showing up to meetings prepared, actively participating in discussions and contributing their ideas and perspectives.
So being an active participant, not just a passive observer.
Exactly. And it's also about being respectful of others, listening attentively, and being open to different viewpoints.
It's about creating that space where everyone feels comfortable being themselves.
Yes.
And sharing their thoughts and feelings.
Precisely. Another thing team members can do is be proactive in seeking feedback.
Oh, okay.
Asking colleagues for their input on their work, their ideas, their approach.
So saying, hey, I value your opinion. Can you give me some feedback on this?
Exactly. That demonstrates a willingness to learn and grow. And it also helps to build trust and rapport.
It's about recognizing that we all have blind spots.
Yes.
And that we can learn from each other.
Now, another powerful tool for building psychological safety is to create team agreements.
What exactly are team agreements?
They're basically a set of guidelines developed collaboratively by the team that outline how they'll work together, how they'll communicate, and how they'll handle conflict.
So it's like a team charter.
Yes.
A set of ground rules for how we're going to operate as a team.
Exactly. And when everyone has a say in developing these agreements, it creates a sense of ownership and accountability.
It's like saying, this is how we're going to work together to create a safe and productive environment for everyone.
Precisely. And it's important to revisit these agreements periodically. Make sure they're still relevant and effective.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Right.
It's a living document.
Yes.
That evolves as the team grows and changes.
Exactly. And finally, it's crucial to remember that building psychological safety is not a one-and-done deal. It's an ongoing effort that requires regular check-ins and adjustments.
So how do teams stay on top of this? What does that look like in practice?
It could be as simple as starting each team meeting with a quick check-in on how everyone is feeling. Or it could be more formal, like having regular team retrospectives where you reflect on what's working well and what could be improved.
So creating those opportunities to gauge the team's temperature.
Yes.
Identify any potential issues and to make adjustments as needed.
Exactly. And it's also about celebrating successes.
Yes.
Acknowledging progress and reinforcing those behaviors that contribute to a psychologically safe environment.
It's about making psychological safety an integral part of the team's culture and DNA.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Now, I know this might seem like a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But the good news is you don't have to do everything at once.
So start small.
Exactly. Pick one or two strategies that resonate and experiment with them.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Yes.
There will be bumps along the road.
For sure.
But with consistent effort and a commitment to creating a psychologically safe environment, teens can achieve amazing things.
Absolutely. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Yes.
There will be bumps along the road.
For sure.
But with consistent effort and a commitment to creating a psychologically safe environment, teams can achieve amazing things.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, those informal gatherings, those team outings, or just casual coffee chats, they can be really powerful in building those personal connections. You know, those moments where you get to see your colleagues as real people with lives and interests outside of work, they can really help solidify that sense of trust we've been talking about.
Right, because when you see your colleagues as real people with families, hobbies, and passions, it's easier to connect with them.
Totally.
Empathize with them. And collaborate effectively.
It's like that aha moment when you realize that your super serious project manager is actually a total karaoke fiend. Suddenly, those team meetings feel a little less intimidating.
Exactly. And those connections can be fostered even further by encouraging cross-functional collaboration.
Oh, good point.
Breaking down those silos.
Yes.
Getting people from different departments working together can spark new ideas.
Oh, sure.
Challenge assumptions. And lead to more innovative solutions.
It's like that classic Reese's Peanut Butter Cup commercial.
I love that.
You got your chocolate and my peanut butter.
Right.
Sometimes the best solutions come from those unexpected combinations.
And it highlights the importance of ensuring that everyone feels like they have a voice.
Yes.
Regardless of their department or seniority level.
But this is so important.
And that can be tricky, especially in organizations with a more traditional hierarchical structure. How can leaders make sure that those quieter voices are heard?
One powerful way is to be intentional about seeking out those diverse perspectives. Don't just wait for people to speak up. Actively invite their input.
So making it a point to ask those "what do you think?" questions.
Yes.
Especially to those who might be hesitant to jump into the conversation.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of transparency.
Okay.
When leaders are open and honest with information, it builds trust and reduces anxiety.
Because when people are kept in the dark,
right,
they tend to assume the worst.
They do. It's like that game of telephone.
Yes.
The message gets distorted as it passes from person to person.
Exactly.
Be upfront about challenges.
Okay.
Share information openly. And involve the team in decision-making processes whenever possible.
Transparency and inclusion, check and check.
There you go.
And what about support?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone needs a helping hand sometimes.
Right.
But asking for it can be tough.
Yeah, it can. Leaders need to create a culture where asking for help is seen as a sign of strength, not weakness.
Oh, that's good.
Encourage people to reach out when they're struggling. Offer support without judgment. And celebrate those who are willing to ask for help.
It's like that saying, it takes a village.
Right.
We can achieve so much more when we're willing to lean on each other.
And remember, feeling supported also means feeling valued.
Yes.
Recognizing and appreciating each team member's unique contributions is essential.
Right? It's about making people feel like they matter.
Yes.
That their work is important and that they're a valued member of the team.
Sometimes a simple thank you or great job can make someone's day.
Those small gestures of appreciation can go a long way.
They do, and they contribute to an overall environment of respect, which is crucial for psychological safety.
Okay.
Treating everyone with dignity and courtesy, regardless of their background, beliefs, or opinions, lays the foundation for open and honest communication.
Respect is a two-way street, though.
Oh, it is.
It's not just about leaders showing respect to their team members,
right,
but also about team members showing respect to each other.
Absolutely. That means listening to others with an open mind.
Okay.
Being willing to consider different perspectives. And avoiding language or behaviors that could be perceived as disrespectful or offensive.
Creating that space where everyone feels safe to be themselves.
Exactly.
Express their thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
Without fear of judgment or retaliation.
And that feeling of safety extends to being able to admit mistakes.
Yes.
And learn from them.
Right.
Remember, embracing failures is key to fostering a culture of innovation. It's not about condoning mistakes, but about reframing them as valuable learning opportunities.
It's like those epic fail videos that go viral online.
Oh, I love those.
We often learn more from those spectacular flops
than
we do from perfectly executed successes.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
When we can laugh at our mistakes and use them as a springboard for growth, we create a much more resilient and innovative team environment.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here. Leadership communication, respect, support, celebrating failures.
Yeah.
And so much more. Before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to the concept of feedback.
Oh, feedback.
It's something that comes up again and again when we talk about psychological safety.
It's true. Feedback, both positive and negative, is crucial for growth and development. But it can be a tricky thing to navigate.
It can.
Especially when it comes to giving constructive criticism.
Because no one likes to hear that they've messed up.
Nobody wants to hear that. But when delivered effectively, feedback can be a powerful tool for improvement.
Okay.
One key principle is to focus on the behavior, not the person.
Okay.
Address the specific actions or behaviors that are causing concern, rather than attacking someone's character.
Right.
Be descriptive, not judgmental.
So instead of saying, "You're always late,"
right,
it's more about saying, "I noticed that you've missed the last 3 deadlines.
Yeah.
Can we talk about what's happening and how we can support you in meeting those deadlines?"
Exactly. It's about being specific, providing concrete examples, and offering solutions rather than just pointing out problems.
And timing matters, too.
It does.
It's best to address issues as they arise.
Yes.
Rather than letting them fester.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The sooner you address an issue, the easier it will be to resolve.
Right.
And when you're giving feedback, make sure it's balanced.
Okay.
Recognize and appreciate people's strengths and accomplishments, even when you're also addressing areas for improvement.
Look like that classic sandwich technique.
I love it.
Start with a positive, then give the constructive criticism.
Yep.
And then end on a positive note.
Exactly. And make sure the feedback is actionable.
Okay.
Provide clear guidance on what the person can do to improve.
So it's not just about pointing out what's wrong.
Right.
But also about offering solutions and support.
Exactly. And remember, feedback should be a two-way street,
Yes.
Leaders should also actively seek feedback from their teams,
Right.
demonstrating that they value everyone's input and are open to learning and growing themselves.
So creating that culture of continuous feedback.
Yes.
Where everyone feels comfortable both giving and receiving it.
Precisely. And when feedback is given and received effectively, it can be a powerful tool for building trust, strengthening relationships, and driving continuous improvement.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I feel like I've learned so much about the nuances of psychological safety.
Me too.
And how it can truly transform teams.
It's powerful stuff.
To our listeners, we hope you've found this deep dive valuable.
Yes.
Remember, building psychological safety is a journey, not a destination.
So true.
It takes time, effort, and a commitment from everyone on the team.
It does. But the rewards are well worth it.
Absolutely. When people feel safe, they're more likely to be engaged, productive, and innovative. They're more likely to take risks, share their ideas, and contribute their best work.
And that's what leads to breakthroughs, innovation, and success.
So keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to create those psychologically safe environments where everyone can thrive.
Love it. And remember, even small changes can make a big difference.
Right.
Start by picking 1 or 2 strategies that resonate with you and try them out with your team.
And be sure to share your experiences with us on social media using the hashtag #DeepDiveChallenge.
Yes, we want to hear what's working for you.
Until next time, keep diving deep.